You know, the USS Constellation has a fantastic history. I mean, look at the way she's rigged, like a real ship out in the ocean. Huh?
Hi, this is Captain Baltimore, and welcome down to the Baltimore Harbor. And you can see the ship is behind me, and we are getting ready to go on board the ship. Come along with me. Hi, welcome back to Captain Baltimore, and we're here with a special guest, Alexa. And we're gonna ask some questions about her experience on the ship and see what we can find out about the USS Constellation. So, how was your experience on, being on such a historic ship and everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great being here. I've been on board for a few years, and it's such a well-known part of Baltimore. It's great to be on board where everyone comes to the city and kind of sees it along the skyline, but being here close up is pretty great to see what it would be like to live on a ship like this.
Wow.
And, it's just great to kind of understand the daily life on board a ship, from, working the sails to firing the cannons, imagining what it would be like to be on here with 300 other sailors back in the 1860s is, something it's very unique in Baltimore, and it's a privilege to be here.
Wow, yes. And what have you learned and taken away from just being around the ship and everything? Like, what's the most favorite thing that you like about it?
Well, I can't be doing it today, but I just really like firing the cannons. I think that's awesome, right? To just be a kind of highlight of being a sailor aboard a ship in the Navy of this period is, making sure that everybody knows what the power of the ship is, and being able to, fire the cannons so everyone in the city can hear us is.
Wow. So another question I have is, how did you get into this career? Like, how did you get in here?
Well, I went to school for history, so when I went to college, I got my history degree, and so I always, wanted to work somewhere where I'm outside. Like, I didn't want to work in an office, so I get to be out here, and I
feel you with that.
Yeah, I get to talk to a lot of people, so it's great, being able to see people coming from all over the country to visit the ship. So again, I really love history, so being able to go to school for history and then being able to work in a historic job is kind of the dream.
Wow.
So
that's
it's been great.
That's definitely amazing. Okay, so what do you feel like it is for women that are in this career and want to do this and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, luckily we live in 2020, so we have the luxury of it not mattering what gender you are to work on a ship like this. I mean, once in a while you get someone who comes on and says, oh, they didn't have girls on ships back in the 1860s, but, it's good that I can kind of fill the role that, people in the past, there would all be male sailors. That didn't mean that women didn't end up on board under the guise of being male sailors. Yeah, there were a lot of women who served on ships as pirates or even in the Navy. Of course, they had to pretend that they were not women at the time, but people like Anne Bonny certainly served on board a ship, regardless of being a woman in the past. So today I don't have to, pretend that I'm a man or anything that I'm not, or I don't identify as, but it's kind of great to just be here and be able to kind of live a life that may have been harder for me to attain if I actually lived in 1860.
So Alexa, what would you like our international audience to know about the USS Constellation?
Well, the Constellation, its kind of claim to fame is it's the last all-sail wooden warship to be built by the U.S. Navy. So I think it's really cool that the only way this ship is going to be able to move is by sail power, by the use of the wind. So it's a different technology, you know. It's not like it has an engine like your car has. I think it's a really cool thing to see, you know, how people use the ocean in times before, and kind of just the amount of work that it takes for something like this to actually cross the ocean. And they did it quite quickly. It was very efficient, and it was something that people worked hard to do.
So what is the next step for you in your career? Where do you see yourself going?
Oh, well, I do want to stay in museum education. That's something I've done for a while, not just here. But eventually I'd like to be, you know, in charge of the educational programs at a museum. I love being out here and talking to people, and I do want to continue doing that. Also, I like to be able to design programs, to come up with new ways to bring people to see what historical places have to offer. So, you know, in the future, who knows what I'll be doing, but I do enjoy just being out here and seeing, you know, people from all over the place coming to visit and give them a memorable experience.
Wow, and that's such great hearing you say that, and I look forward to seeing what you do next, and I'm sure you're going to do great. So thank you so much for telling us about this ship and everything. And
thank you, Captain Baltimore. It's been great being here.
All right, welcome back to Captain Baltimore, and as you can see, we are in the heart of the ship, down in the bottom. Now, this is where they did the storage and everything, where they did food and materials and things like that. And if you look down, you can see how all of this down here is really deep and stuff. So you can tell because they have so much crew members on here and so many people that they have to make it really wide and very big so that they'll be able to store a lot of things, you know. And especially as you come down, you can follow. As you can see, they have some of these things here. Now, I think this is for where they store some of their food and stuff in there, and I think they call these magazines or something like that. And when they did that, so that they can always make sure that the things would be safe and secure, because because you're on a ship, you know, and during the storms and stuff, you know, things will walk back and forth and everything like that. So you always want to make sure things were secure and everything and stuff like that. And this right here, as you can tell, he was the acting master. He was Eugene B. Mallet, who was overseeing the storage of the USS Constellation hold during the Civil War. So one man would be in charge of all the stores and stuff down here, you know, during the Civil War and everything. And yeah, so as you can see, it's very low. Okay, so you know, it's not a lot of space down here. So, but you can just see the history of the ship and just so much they had to do throughout the Civil War and stuff to survive and stuff. You know, so this is definitely something that they had to do, you know, to survive and everything. So so this is it for this part. Alright, welcome back to the Captain Baltimore Show, and we're all down the USS Constellation with a crew member. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Gray.
Gray, nice to meet you. And we want to ask you some questions about, you know, the museum and tell you, ask you how's it like being here, how's it like, you know, working and being around this such a historic ship.
Well, thanks for having me on. I really love the USS Constellation. In fact, you know, my family's been involved with this ship for generations.
Wow.
My great-grandfather was involved in getting the ship here.
Okay.
And so it's played a very important part to my family, the city of Baltimore.
Yeah.
It's a hugely historic ship, so I mean, being here is really awesome.
Wow, that's great to hear. So you're rooted in this ship. You're kind of, you know, you're historically with this ship. And so, what has been your personal experience with this ship?
Well, I started working here a couple of years ago, and really, I love working at all the ships, but this ship is super special because not only is it one of the oldest ships we have left in the country, it's also, I think, one of the prettiest.
Yeah.
It's got the black and white paint scheme is really pretty.
Yeah.
The lines of the ship, the way the bow curves in, comes back up here. It's something I always liked sailboats, and this is like a really big sailboat.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you don't see things like this anymore. So
Yeah.
just to have this downtown is really special. Have people come on board and be interested in the ship is really. You can, if you want to know more, you can look us up, historicships.org. We have our website there. We have an audio-visual tour you can listen to for each of the ships, like you would do in a museum. And there's also YouTube videos you can check out that shows the interiors of our ships.
Okay, so where we are right now, this is the officers' corner, and this is where they would have the people that would operate the ship and everything like that. And as you can see, they got their own unique beds and setups. So as you can see over here, they have the names. The Executive Officer William Lowe, right there. And then as you go down, they each got their own unit. So this was Second Lieutenant Navigator Russ Wallace. Okay. And as you keep going down, they had a third lieutenant. And so there was just multiple people, multiple officers that would make sure things were, kept in place and everything like that. And so it's a pretty cool thing to see. So this is the chaplain. So this is a chaplain, which is a pastor. So as you can tell, they had a pastor on the ship and everything like that. So yeah, that's pretty interesting, because I'm sure you guys know what a pastor is. So they also had one too. And they also got more people down here. They got the surgeon right here, where they would work on the human body and everything. And they have, over here, they have the playmaster, who will work on the bookkeeping and the finances of the ship. And definitely, especially what's down in the heart, but there's so much history down here. And so thank you for being my guest on here. And if you have any last thoughts, you'd like to say.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Last thoughts. Well, Baltimore is a really great city. We're very lucky to have all of these wonderful tourist attractions, not only the ships, but the museums, the aquarium, the Federal Hill, Fort McHenry, all of these wonderful things. And being a Marylander and having a long family history here, I always enjoy learning more about our history, and I hope you did too.
Well, it was a pleasure knowing you and everything, and it was also my pleasure. And so thank you so much for doing this, and we'll be right back. Okay, so this is the front of the ship. And this is where you can see they got most of the stuff down here, all the materials and stuff that they used throughout the war and everything. And as you can see, okay, so this is called the forward deck, and this is, you know, this man was in charge of this part right here during the Civil War and how he would operate down here. And you know, this is what he would do throughout the war, and yeah, so pretty interesting stuff.
So you're getting ready to close up the ship now?
Yes, so actually we're just finished closing up, putting the cover on one of our cannons, and now we're going to be lowering the national flag. Alexa, you want to lower the flag? It's generally a two-person job. Pass for Colin Powell. Raise it all the way to the top, and then we'll lower it down to the front. We're flying the flag for Colin Powell.
enjoy that? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So, we're going to take you to another part of the ship. Come follow me. Okay, so this is where the seamen will sleep on these beds here. And as you can see, they're not as luxurious as the officers have, but this is what they would use, you know, after a long day of working. They would sleep on these, and you know, they would also eat down here and socialize, and you know, kind of just, you know, enjoy, you know, each other's company and stuff. So, so this is where they slept. The room that I'm in right now is where they would perform surgery and this is basically the hospital. So you guys know what a hospital is. So this was their hospital. So we're gonna come in and see what kind of stuff they use to treat the sailors. So as you can see right here, this is some of the material that they used for the sailors, you know, over here. So as you can see, they would you know, use materials and stuff, just like as in a hospital and everything like that. And they also had 2 surgeons on board. Okay, so as you can see right here, this was their names. And this would be, right here is the operating table, what they would use to treat the sailors on. Okay, so as you can see, we are at the cannons part of the ship, and as you can see, there were 22 cannons on this ship, and they are pretty big and sturdy. So this is what they would use for wars and stuff like that, to fight during the Civil War. And you know, this would be, you know, they would have some of the Marines and stuff down here to go to battle with. And as you can see, these are really powerful cannons. So and they would do some serious damage. So as you can look around, there was multiple of them, and yeah, so pretty cool. Okay, so right here is a fire pump, and this would be something that they would use to take out fires, and how they would, you know, for like emergencies and stuff like that. So they would push down on this, and water would come out of the ship to put out the fire. So yeah, so this ship has a lot of tools and everything that they used, you know, during the war to survive and everything. So yeah, so that's something that they used. And this is everything that we have for today. But thank you for joining us on Captain Baltimore, and thank you for taking this walking the ship with me. And I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time on Captain Baltimore. Yeah, so saying, you know, you're saying you've been with other ships. Yeah, tell me about some of the other ships you have to be working go through it for some.
Well, we have 3 other ships in our fleet.
Okay.
The light ship Chesapeake,
Okay.
the U.S. submarine Torsk, which means cod in Norwegian, fun fact. And we have the U.S. CGC WEC 37, which means high endurance cutter, is what WEC stands for. And those 3 ships are very historic. The light ships were basically floating lighthouses, where you couldn't necessarily build a lighthouse in the middle of the ocean. You could put a light ship, especially when the sands move outside. Submarines, of course, are for going out and finding enemy ships and sneaking up on them underwater. And the Coast Guard, of course, is a really awesome service that protects our coasts and saves lives out there. And so to have a member of each of our naval services, pretty much, is really cool. And they're all really exciting ships. They're very historic. The light ship Chesapeake worked in the Chesapeake Bays for 20-odd years. Our Coast Guard cutter was originally named after a Marylander, and was a very historic ship, served until the 1980s. And the Torsk, while it doesn't have any necessary relationship to Baltimore specifically, it's got a very exciting American story in that it served for 20 years. It sank the last Japanese warship of World War II, and served all the way into the 1960s as a training ship. So they're all very exciting and interesting ships in the harbor, and we're very lucky to have them.
So I hope you enjoyed everything that we had on the ship and everything, and we'll hope to see you next time.